Did Jim Carrey really get cloned? One of the strangest theories circulating online lately is this. After Jim Carrey appeared on stage at the 2026 César Awards, people kept saying the same thing. That's not him. His face looked different. His energy felt different. His eyes seemed different. But maybe the truly unsettling part is this. We weren't looking at a fake Jim Carrey. Maybe, for the first time, we were looking at a Jim Carrey who had genuinely changed, and the internet couldn't handle it. Because Jim Carrey is not just an ordinary actor. He was the physical embodiment of the chaotic energy of the 1990s. Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. He wasn't just funny. He was almost superhuman. His face moved like rubber. His body worked like a cartoon character. Then, with films like The Truman Show and Man on the Moon, he became central not only to comedy, but also to questions of identity, reality, and the self. And this is exactly where the psychology begins. The human mind freezes the celebrities it loves in time. We do not store Jim Carrey in our memory as a man who ages. We store him in his most iconic form. And when that image is disrupted, the brain sometimes refuses to accept something very simple. Time has passed. The person changed. The face changed. The energy changed. Instead, we create a more dramatic story. This cannot be the same person. That is why clone theories often reveal not reality, but our own resistance to change. Parasocial bonds make this even stronger. People think they truly know the celebrity, and when that person changes, it can feel almost like a betrayal. But what makes the Jim Carrey case especially interesting is not just aging. Jim Carrey has been talking about identity for years. In interviews, he has repeatedly said things like, "There is no Jim Carrey," and "I was a character." Online, those statements sometimes become fuel for absurd conspiracy theories. But psychologically, the issue is much deeper. If you spend too long performing a version of yourself that other people will love, eventually one question becomes unavoidable. Who am I really? In the Jim and Andy documentary, after coming out of the Andy Kaufman role, he said, "I didn't know who I was anymore." That says everything. So the issue is not cloning. It is a fragmented sense of self. If a person wears masks for years, eventually he has to remove the mask, not just from his face, but from his soul. What Jim Carrey went through looks a lot like that. First, he became the man who made the world laugh. Then he realized fame could not satisfy him. Then his roles and his identity began to blur together. Then came depression, withdrawal, painting, philosophy, spirituality. From the outside, this transformation may look strange, but in reality, it is a deeply human process. Everyone knows me, but do I know myself? Maybe what unsettles people is not Jim Carrey's face. Maybe it is seeing our own truth through him. Because when we look at Jim Carrey, we realize something. Even the funniest person can feel empty. Even the most famous person can lose his sense of self. And even the stars we love most are not obligated to remain identical to the version we keep in our heads. So maybe the real question is not, was Jim Carrey cloned? Maybe the real question is this. Why is it easier for us to believe that a person has been replaced by a copy than to accept that they have changed, aged, deepened, or even broken? Maybe this story is not really about Jim Carrey. Maybe it is about how fragile identity really is. And maybe the most disturbing truth is this. Jim Carrey did not disappear. He simply stepped out of the character we had been watching for years and showed us something we did not want to see. There is a human being underneath the mask,